I was casually browsing through cards for my next commander deck when I came across something strange. More than strange. Have you ever seen this card? It's harder to find something about this card that isn't strange, and I was torn in so many directions at once. The most obvious is the text box, but let's review the card line by line. Arden Angel. Have you heard the word Arden before? I glanced over it on my first pass, but I had to look it up for the video, and it contains multitudes. A quick search reveals the word as the Hebrew word for the Garden of Eden. It also shows Arden as a surname of a successful businesswoman from the 19th century. It's also a forest featured in Shakespeare. A curious choice for an angel from the plane of... well, that gets weirder. We'll get to that later. It's a 6-mana angel. Expensive, but as we get lower down, we'll see the mana cost isn't all that relevant. The art is by the classic Greg Staples, who has done hundreds of amazing pieces of magic art. This is the first time we get to see it, compared to its original. An angel surrounded by the clouds, it's just a beautiful piece. And of course, it's an angel, but it has a curious set symbol. This is no ordinary card. And finally, what first caught my eye? It has flying. No, okay, the rest of the text box. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Arden Angel is in your graveyard, roll a 4-sided die. If the result is a 1, return Arden Angel from your graveyard to the battlefield. I have so much to say about this text box. It's just over 30 words, but inspires hundreds. What caught your eye first? For me, it was 4-sided die. How many cards in Magic use a 4-sided die? 4, ironically. 3 from Dungeons & Dragons, and our Angel. The 4-sided die I got from Amonkhet 10 years ago finally has another use all these years later. It was such an odd dice to make. Magic has plenty of 6 and 20-sided dice, but to bring the 4-sided dice back for one card in a modern border? Where did this decision come from? The original dice is at least a D&D reference, but... I found this card first on Card Market, where this card has exactly one version. A Secret Lair printing from 2023. A very recent card, brand new to Secret Lair, that isn't Universes Beyond. I didn't know that was even a thing. I'd never heard of it. No big deal was made of it as far as I can remember. And I keep up on Magic. Sure, they print a billion cards a week now, but still, I digress. 4-sided die exist, but this breaks the golden rule of dice. Roll high. From the first time I rolled the dice, the objective was mostly clear. Roll high and win. From Monopoly to Warhammer, Mario Kart to Dungeons & Dragons, every game wants you to roll well for big prizes. Wizards' own D&D is especially notorious for having one be a critical fail, an outcome to be avoided at any cost without cheating. Magic's own sets have incorporated this equally, from the biggest dragon to the weirdest of tutors. A 1 is the worst result. The only exception I could find is a complaints clerk, which aptly compensates your complaint on a 1 with a token. And Arden Angel. On a 1, it returns to the battlefield from your graveyard. A 1 in 4 chance at reanimation. A critical fail rewards you with a 4/4 angel as early as the second turn of the game if you have an entomb handy. Which is straight where my mind went. While inconsistent, this is a potentially powerful ability if luck is on your side. I briefly imagined an amusing legacy brew where Buried Alive sends 3 of these to the graveyard and can give you 12 power next turn, or nothing. Certainly worse than Free Phoenix, but infinitely more funny. If Legacy was still alive and didn't require a mortgage for the scrublands this deck would require, I might just have done it. But as someone who loves the element of chance in my card games, this card speaks to me. Despite often being a competitively minded player, I love inconsistency. I want my games to play out differently, to have no idea what my next turn brings. My channel is OnlyCascades because the feeling of not knowing what might be your next spell is more thrilling than the most well-executed strategy for me. This angel will sit in my graveyard and evoke a similar feeling once I find a way to get it there. Different, for I know it's probably coming, but not when. But on a 1. The feeling of failure. A single counter on my vexing puzzle box. A reward for failure. It seems somewhat apt. My favourite angelic ability prior to this is Restoration Angel, a sweeping saviour in your darkest hour. Arden turns what is normally a failure into a great moment, which gives its flavour text a double irony. Cast from Dreams and Forged from Hope. A card cast from Dreams that nobody wants to cast. I will spend 6 mana on this card, but it will not fill me with joy. I want to chase that high of getting it for free, without casting. And it's Forged from Hope. The hope you may do so, but it is the hope of finding a silver lining in failure, and it's a 4/4, appropriate for its dice. But the text box is just the start of what makes this card weird. You thought we were done? Not by a long shot. Let's go further down. SLD 1344. But this card is too weird to randomly see a first print in a secret lair. They had to be more. And Scryfall revealed its secret. Let me introduce you to Ada no Tenshi. It features a slightly different text box, and not one I can read in its entirety despite some Japanese language knowledge. In this text box, instead we choose a random number between 1 and 4, and if it's a 1 we get to play the angel. So the 1 has been with the card for 20 years. 20 years? Right, this card was featured only on the Sega Dreamcast release of Magic the Gathering, exclusively in Japan. Thanks to the kind YouTuber Undead Rocken, we do have footage of the game, and see it has a pretty iconic
combat damage
sound effect, and actually a decent little soundtrack. I've actually used it as a soundtrack for this entire video. The video was uploaded 18 years ago, and it is a pretty neat time capsule. User JVJ Fanatic is excited to own the game despite the $70 price tag 17 years ago. A quick search on Wakari reveals a copy can be found in 2025 for 6,800 yen, showing it hasn't managed to retain a premium price tag despite being a unique part of Magic's past. And there she is. Ardent Angel sits proudly on the front of the box. This game will definitely be one I hunt for on my next trip to Japan. I could and may resort to the online purchase, but I'd love to find it in the wild and try to play it now. Another useful channel I found is Magic Untapped, which proved to be a goldmine for information in English on the game, including what looks like a 3D render of Ardent Angel. The game has a story and seems to take place on a unique plane we haven't seen elsewhere in the multiverse. Will this too have omen paths allowing Ardent Angel to visit the world? If you want to see more, I won't steal his thunder, I've linked the video below. But Ardent Angel wasn't the only card released in this game. It was released alongside another 8 random themed cards, exclusive to the game. Lidari Druid is a particular monster I think we all hope never sees a paper printing. Still, despite the early 2000s release date, these were not the first digitally exclusive cards. The Astral set takes the credit for that, as the iceberg this card holds grows deeper and deeper. But that's another video. This set holds one of the only other digital-only cards to see a paper print, with Velocan Dragon joining Oracle of the Alpha in Mystery Booster 2. The 2 Dreamcast cards are amended to work in Magic. The Oracle asks the player to make it work if they have the Power 9 lying around. Finally, my search led me to the Wizard's article announcing the deck, confirming its final revival to paper, and leaves us on an ominous thought. Ardent Angel will follow the same rules as our other mechanically unique Secret Lair cards and be globally available in boosters through the list in the future. This article is still online and still holds a promise that Ardent Angel will return in a unique situation. Every other list reprint has been reskinned, but what plane is Ardent Angel truly from? Is it a universes beyond, or will its reprint see this iconic and rarely seen Greg Staples art return? If it ever does, for the list no longer exists, yet the promise remains. Where will Ardent Angel next return? Watch out for any erroneous ones, it could be a sign. But before we go, let's go back to that name, Ardent Angel. I said it got weirder. The word is in katakana, implying it's a foreign borrowed word for an angel in a Japanese exclusive video game, referencing either a British forest or a businesswoman as far as I thought. But I asked my Japanese friend if they understood the meaning of the card, and she had no idea until she researched it and came up with Ardent Supporter as being the most likely translation. An angel hailing from Eden, the beginning of all, the purest of places, ready to support you when you fail. Or a businesswoman. I'd like to know how this name truly came about one day. Maybe it even features in the story of the video game. I don't know if I'll ever get to play it considering you need a Japanese Dreamcast as well as the game, but if I find out, I'll let you know. One thing I do know is this card has earned its spot in a deck I'll never do a guide for on this channel. I have a 5-color deck with a simple aim. I add cards in that make me excited to cast. From Gonti's Theft to, of course, Maelstrom Wanderer, I just add cards I'd like to play without any aim towards power or synergy. A true power level 1 deck. I never want to cast this angel, but it might just have earned itself a permanent home. Thanks for watching.